I know you. Casual is too easy. Even Uncle Topia no longer provides a challenge. You desire more. Congratulations. Pat yourself on the back and throw away your condoms. You're ready for competitive TF2. Unlike most professionally played games, TF2 has significantly different rules between casual and competitive. Not with the in-game competitive mode. No one plays that. But within third-party leagues like UGC, RGL, and ET2FL. Every league has their own ban lists, and these are still changed seasonally. Major TF2 updates editing the stats of the weapons used to lead to dramatic changes in the lists, but given this October it was 7 years since Jungle Inferno, there's normally very few changes between seasons. I'll only be going over the ban lists for 6v6 and Highlander in the European, American, and UGC leagues, with my apologies to Asia and Oz Fortress. You can assume the rules will be much the same, but you can check with the link in the description. So, let's get right into it. First things first, no looping taunts. This rule began in 2011 when the High Five taunt was released, and to this day, all taunts that allow the player to manually stop the taunt when they like have been banned, without exception. This is to prevent players from being able to see round corners in third person, setting up ambushes, and generally giving the defender an unfair advantage. Pyro vision and any hats or weapons that cause it have been banned across the board as they change how the player views the map and hears sounds. Noisemakers and hats that create noise are also banned, such as the Scout's Booty Time and Pyro's Jingle Belt, though honestly I'd argue these are more of a disability to the player wearing them, as you can hear where they are at all times. The Armonomicon is banned due to it exploding the player's corpse. The leagues say let the bodies hit the floor and let them stay there. It goes without saying, but all stock weapons are allowed, and reskins follow the same rules as their regular counterparts. So let's get into the class specifics, starting with everyone's favorite ADHD Bostoner.
It's not unusual. Oh wait, he didn't start yet. Okay, here we go.
Starting with the primaries, we immediately see a separation between 6v6 and Highlander. For both modes, for all leagues, the Babyface's Blaster, Backscatter, Forcer Nature, and Shortstop are allowed. However, the Soda Popper is only allowed in Highlander, and this is consistent across all leagues. Why? Well, supposedly because the multiple jumps the Soda Popper's boost gives you makes it a pain in the ass to fight against the soldier and demo, but the Soda Popper also has a higher DPS with its 2-shell burst, which matters more once you have a third of your team being scouts. In Scout secondaries, we start to see a greater variation between the leagues. Starting with Highlander, across all leagues, the Bonk Atomic Punch, Pretty Boys Pocket Pistol, and Winger are legal, but the Criticola and Mad Milk are both banned. The reason for the Criticola ban is they don't want the Scout being able to do 140 damage meat shots. Most of the game they'd be able to one-shot the medic and would essentially be a more powerful spy. The Mad Milk is banned for a reason that will come up frequently. They want to discourage degenerate playstyles. That is to say, they don't want players throwing Mad Milk on the cart, jumping back into spawn for a fresh bottle, and playing last point as an aggressive milkman.
I am the milkman. My milk is delicious. Special delivery today.
Maybe if it was like the gas pass and required damage to build up, it would be allowed, but for now, it's just a straight ban all round. The only addition to this list is ET2FL also bans the Flying Guillotine. Now, this may go back to the degenerate philosophy, or they may feel that scouts shouldn't be able to do 50 damage plus 40 bleed from across the map. Regardless, European scouts will forever be guillotineless, apart from the French ones. Given the larger role scouts play in 6v6, their bans are harsher. Criticola, Flying Guillotine, and Mad Milk are banned across all leagues. Both ET2FL and RGL ban the Pretty Boys Pocket Pistol and Bonk Atomic Punch. Only UGC allows them, and I can only speculate why. The Pocket Pistol was buffed hard in Jungle Inferno, then nerfed in the Blue Moon update to reduce the healing per bullet to where it is currently. Perhaps once you've got the god aim of a professional, that maximum 27 health received per clip turns the tide, but banning it seems the safer option. Bonk is a whitelist out of nowhere, but I guess UGC wants to give their scouts a get out of fight free card in exchange for a pistol slot. Really, I don't see it getting that much use. What this essentially means is 6's scout is locked to the winger and the stock, and 99% of the time you'll see scouts using stock. The larger clip of the pistol is better for the chip damage than that slight jump boost from the winger, plus the decreased clip just doesn't complement the finisher purpose of the pistol.
Diagnosis? You suck!
All leagues, both 6v6 and Highlander, allow all of Scout's melee weapons, with the sole exception of ET2FL 6's recently banning the Rap Assassin. You see it a lot in pubs nowadays for those Hail Mary swings, and the damage, it's not insignificant, around 60 to 80 damage, including bleed. The bauble recharges every 7.5 seconds, and crits if you hit the enemy from far away enough. With good aim in a competitive setting, you could be a real problem for the enemy, more so than with any other bat. The ban is understandable. None of the other bats are overpowered. If you're close enough to hit someone with the Fan of War, then you're close enough to meat shot them and guarantee the kill anyway. But the vast majority of the time, you'll see scouts using the Boston Basher to build Uber. Now I want to... Wait, do you hear that? I mean, it almost sounds like a... Ah!
You are an Englishman! You're dead? That's good, amen.
Starting with Highlander, across all leagues, the Beggar's Bazooka, Black Box, Cow Mangler, Direct Hit, Liberty Launcher, and Rocket Jumper are all allowed, but the airstrike is illegal in RGL. I assume because it makes the soldier's job of jumping the medic easier and less fun to play against. Or maybe the Americans are saving their airstrikes for a country with more sand. At least this was the case, but they've changed their mind since last season. Lube up, America. Airstrikes are back on the menu. In 6v6, RGO and ET2FL ban the Cow Mangler, but UGC allows it. You may think it's due to the charged shot, however, the cost of 4 rockets just for one mini crit shot doesn't have that much effect in a game without sentries, though it could still one-shot a medic. It's the fact it doesn't use ammo and makes non-stop rocket spamming possible, essentially making it a direct upgrade from the stock, which contributes mostly to the ban. UGC are ignoring this logic this season because they like the laser sounds. Here we see a great divide between Highlander and 6's. In Highlander, all of Soldier's secondaries are permitted. The battalion's backup, Buff Banner, Gunboats, Man-Treads, Righteous Bison, Panic Attack, Reserve Shooter, Base Jumper, and Conqueror, or Conjurer if you have rocks in your head like I do. In 6's, however, across all leagues, the Base Jumper and Reserve Shooter are banned, including for the other classes that can use them. At least this was the case last season, but this season ET2FL and RGL are allowing the Base Jumper. It isn't that bad in Highlander due to the multiple hit scan classes, but in 6's they complain it's hard to hit a floating soldier with their rockets and pipes. And what with all the soldiers and demos flying about, it makes sense that the reserve shooter wouldn't be included. Other than that, all of Soldier's secondaries are allowed, with the sole exception of ET2FL banning the battalion's backup. Almost certainly for that extra 20 health you get from just equipping the damn thing, but also potentially the buff it gives granting crit immunity, which would completely counter an opposing medic if they were using the crit streak. For Highlander, all soldiers' melees are available. Go crazy, baby, have fun. Sixes is another story. The Half Zatoichi, Pain Train, Equalizer, and Escape Plan are allowed in all 3 leagues, but ET2FL bans the Market Gardener, and all of them ban the disciplinary action.
Yeah, baby!
The Market Gardener, I understand. It can be near impossible to get away from a good rocket jumping soldier, but the disciplinary action? Perhaps to prevent early game heavy strats, getting them to the midpoint in time for the fight, or maybe the speed boost to all players alone makes it bannable. If the other team's soldiers have it, then your team would be forced to equip it too, or be late to the beginning of each round. Regardless, it's out of there. Speaking of things that should be permanently removed from the game, the Hellspawn class has every primary available across all leagues for Sixes and Highlander. The Backburner, Degreaser, Dragon's Fury, even the Blessed Phlogisinator is allowed. That is how powerful Air Blast is. Now we get into some contention. For Highlander, the Panic Attack, Reserve Shooter, Detonator, Flare Gun, Man Melter, and Thermal Thruster are all allowed. All leagues ban the Scorch Shot, but only UGC bans the Gas Passer. The Scorch Shot is an understandable ban. With its knockback, mini crits, and splash damage, it provides the most consistent damage of any Pyro secondary. The Gas Passer is a strange ban. True, it can guarantee a whole team grouped around a payload or capture point will be on fire, but it takes a decent amount of damage to charge the thing, so there's no risk of spamming it. In Sixes, all leagues ban the Reserve Shooter, of course, but for RGL and UGC, that is it. They allow every other Pyro secondary, including the Scorch Shot, which is very left field. Only ET2FL bans the Detonator, Gas Passer, and Scorch Shot. Banning the Detonator is an interesting choice. Maybe the extra mobility from the explosive jumps it does, or precise timings with a detonation lead to it being too powerful. But whatever the reason, the Sixes Pyro is mostly reduced to the Flare Gun, Shotgun, or Thermal Thruster. I mean, there's the Man Melter too, but unless the other team is also running Pyro, it's just straight downgrade. Finally, Pyro's melee weapons. It's everything! Highlander and Sixes, we got it all leagues! The Extinguisher, Backscratcher, Homewrecker, Hot Hand, Neon Annihilator, Power Jack, Third Degree, and Sharpened Volcano Fragment. I would have expected them to ban the Third Degree being a straight upgrade, but let's be honest, a Pyro's gonna be running Homewrecker or Power Jack in Highlander, and the Power Jack in Sixes. The decreased medic healing destroys the Backscratcher competitively, and the rest are just situational trash. Moving right along to the Tartan Terror. Only one demo primary is banned in Highlander and Sixes. The Wee Booties, Base Jumper, Iron Bomber, and Loose Cannon are all allowed, but in Highlander, RGL, and ET2FL, and in Sixes just ET2FL, they all banned the Lock and Load. But why? I mean, it used to be the demo's direct hit, but they nerfed it into the ground. There's no rollers, a smaller clip. It just makes it a direct downgrade against other players compared to the regular grenade launcher. Assuming competitive players can hit the majority of their shots, what's the problem? The only thing it's good for is destroying buildings, but so is a soldier's direct hit, and that is whitelisted across all leagues. I mean, how many NGs complain to see this change made? And why the hell is it banned in Sixes? There aren't any NGs. Unless you're really suffering on your last point, you won't see a single sentry. Is it the faster projectile speed? I mean, come on, Europe, get your act together. It's all allowed, baby! Demo best class, yeah! Highlander, it's all there. The charge and charge, splendid screen, tie turner, sticky jumper, Scottish resistance, and the quickie bomb launcher. The Scottish train has no brakes. And it's the same for sixes too. We love the Demoman and... What now, Europe? You're banning the quickie bomb launcher. UGC and RGL put up with it. Have you considered simply getting good with the weapon if it's so powerful? Honestly, I don't see playing against the quickie bomb launcher as any worse than the regular sticky bomb. Frankly, I think the arming time should be increased for the stock launcher, so you have to use it more strategically. But the good news is that European players of both opinions have a space. If you like the item, go into UGC 6s. If you don't, go into ET2FL. Alright, I'm just going to check the ET2FL 6s whitelist before I start celebrating this. Alright, we're good. It's all allowed, baby! Demo is back! Demo night is competitively viable! Highlander and sixes, every league in harmony, every demo melee is acceptable. The Hafsa the Pain Train, Cladamour, Highlander, Persian Persuader, Scotsman Skullcutter, and the Ullapul Caver. We got them all! Go have fun, you crazy man! Break out the good vodka, boys. Heavy gets all his primaries in Highlander in all leagues. I'm talking Brass Beast, Hualong Heater, Natasha, and the Tomislav. The sixes are consistent too. All three leagues ban Sweet Natasha. The slowdown effect has been a bit wonky for a while, and what with jumping soldiers and speedy scouts, boy do they hate it. But that's the only ban they make, and frankly, yeah, I think it's reasonable. Not that anyone would use anything but the sandwich, but at least the options are available to you. In Highlander, all leagues, all available. The Panic Attack, Delocus Bar, Family Business, Sandwich, Second Banana, and Buffalo Steak. And sixes is the same. All leagues, all available. Go crazy, heavy mains. Ro-do-do-do-do. Come sing this me. This hasn't always been the case, however. Both ET2FL and UGC 6s used to ban the Buffalo Steak Sandwich. The reason it was banned is not because melee heavy was dominating the meta, but granting a 30% speed boost for 16 seconds can get a heavy to the mid-fight much sooner, making starting every round as a heavy, then switching off after you die a legitimate strategy. And it heals your teammates as much as the sandwich, so there's no downside there. In Highlander, across all leagues, Heavy has full access to his arsenal of arm extensions. The Eviction Notice, Fists of Steel, Gloves of Running Urgently, Holiday Punch, Killing Gloves of Boxing, and Warrior's Spirit. However, if you're using anything but the Fists of Steel or Gloves of Running Urgently, you're a few sandwiches short of a Hoovy picnic. Sixes only has one ban, and it is consistent across the three leagues. The Fists of Steel. They turn the already tanky Heavy tankier, and Sixes players don't like wasting their bullets on sponges. They'd rather solve practical problems.
You're out of touch, I'm out of time.
With the least weapon choice in the game, we'll keep this short and sweet. In Highlander, the engineer has his full arsenal available. The Panic Attack, Frontier Justice, Pomson 6000, Rescue Ranger, and Widowmaker. But in Sixes, the Rescue Ranger is banned, except for UGC. The engineer has a far more critical role in Highlander, as the anchor for the team to defend around. In Sixes, he is far more of an emergency play when you need total defense. The sentry gun is an uber sink. Having an NG be able to sit and spawn and keep the gun alive indefinitely while the enemy wastes their uber on it, it could cause some boring stalemates, so better to ban the weapon. At least that was the philosophy last season, but now UGC have unbanned it, so keep an eye out for those long defenses. There are only 2 alternatives for NG's secondary. Both Highlander and Sixes ban the short circuit due to its spam potential, trying to prevent those degenerate playstyles again, but Highlander allows the Wrangler, while Sixes bans it. Now I think for the same reason as the Rescue Ranger, NG has a more important role in Highlander, and the Wrangler can be used skillfully to shoot far off targets like that ever-looming sniper, or to keep a gun alive during a push. Sixes hate keeping the gun alive, so away it goes. Any Sixes NG secondary is required to be a pistol. Engineer essentially has 2 wrenches, the gunslinger and stock, and for this reason they are all allowed. In all leagues for Highlander and Sixes, total availability. Eureka Effect, Gunslinger, Jag, and Southern Hospitality. Most engineers on offense use the Gunslinger, and most Sixes NGs use the Jag, as the decreased damage to sappers doesn't matter, and it gets the gun up faster to be ready for that push. Now the class everyone loves to see but hates to play.
The healing is not as rewarding as the hurting.
Medics primaries are easy. All leagues, Highlander and Sixes agree that they are all allowed. The Blutsauger, Overdose, and Crusader's crossbow, but any medicine man worth his Salsa will be using the crossbow.
My leg!
If your medic is using the Blutsauger, that is a defense mechanism and you need to protect them better. In Highlander, all mediguns are allowed, Kritzkrieg, Quick Fix, and Vaccinator, but in Sixes, the only alternative to stock allowed is the Kritzkrieg, except for UGC, who also allow the Quick Fix. The Vaccinator ban makes sense due to the lack of fire damage. When you're only fighting against soldiers, scouts, and demos, a good medic could have bullet or explosive resistance ready on a dime, and make the fight very one-sided. The quick fix would lead to medics jumping around with their pockets and just heals and builds Uber too quickly. But not for UGC, apparently. They just gotta be different this season. You rarely see the quick fix or vaccinator used in Highlander. Maybe the quick fix on exception when you just need some fast heals to prevent a roll, but the vaccinator gets shut down fast by even basic communication. They're all allowed, yeah! The Amputator, Solemn Vow, Vitasaur, and Ubersaur. You see the Ubersaur most, of course, but at higher levels of Sixes, you get the Solemn Vow more often. Having the spy's Shinigami eyes, this can be really helpful when communicating to your teammates on who to target, how low the enemy medic is, and crucially, what their Uber charge is at. It's been banned in the past due to being a straight upgrade, but the Gunmetal update added an attack speed nerf, and it regained its place in competitive. Now for... Oh, hey Dad, what? No, I'm not a VTuber, Dad, I'm in a SpongeBob morph suit. Well, the difference being is I don't get paid for my mental sickness. Sniper is an interesting case, but most of the bans are for obvious reasons. The leagues all agree for his primaries. The Bizarre Bargain, Classic, Hitman's Heatmaker, and Huntsman are allowed in both Highlander and Sixes. The Machina is banned in both modes, but Highlander allows the Sydney Sleeper while Sixes bans it, apart from the goddamn UGC. The Machina you can understand. Not being able to do 50 damage hipfire is barely a nerf compared to 173 damage body shots, let alone the headshots and piercing. I mean, it's just too powerful in the wrong hands, and those are the hands of all sniper mains. The Sydney Sleeper is banned in RGR and ET2FL6s because with less players, focusing one person is just so much stronger, and inflicting mini crits on someone from across the map without requiring the accuracy of a headshot, you can see why they don't like it. Sniper's secondary equip contains a ban for Highlander that you don't see in 6s that really highlights the difference in the modes. For 6s, you have the availability of the Cleaner's Carbine, Cozy Camper, Darwin's Danger Shield, and Razorback. Only the Girati is banned. Girati is also banned in every league of Highlander. It goes back to that degenerate playstyle philosophy, snipers running back to spawn to recharge and coating the enemy in a constant supply of plus 35% damage taken. The difference for Highlander is that ET2FL and RGL ban the Darwin's Danger Shield, but UGC does not. And I gotta say, I agree with the ban. Sniper is a death machine in Highlander, and one of Pyro's only utilities not obsessing over spies is setting the sniper on fire to prevent them from shooting. The Danger Shield negates this completely. I don't know who in UGC looked at Sniper and thought, yeah, this needs a buff. But the Girati and Danger Shield bans both seem very reasonable to me.
You call that a knife? This is a knife.
That's not a knife, that's a spoon.
The Bushwhacker, Shahashnashna, and Tribalman Shiv, everything is legal across all leagues for Highlander and 6s. Though you'd be crazy to use the Bushwhacker without Girati, my money would be on the Tribalmans to get that bleed on spies, or Shahanshasha is also viable, since at close range sniper is probably low health sniper. Finally, our saucy saboteur.
Idiot! Come stand on the point. What the?
Spy has one ban from his items, consistent across almost all leagues and modes. It's not the Ambassador, it's not the Enforcer, it's not L'Étrange, it's the Diamondback. Of course it is. You get 102 damage shot for every building and backstab. You sap an active teleporter and you've got 200 damage in your back pocket. If you can aim your shot. I can't argue this. You backstab a medic's pocket, turn around and leave him on 48 health, and your soldier friend comes in with a single rocket, and that is med_down. It's banned across all Highlander, and of course they wouldn't allow this in 6s. Of course not. But guess who does? Guess who has decided that this season they're gonna spit in the face of every established opinion the TF2 community holds dear? UGC 6s allows the Diamondback. I mean, Spy is weak, especially in 6s where disguises are pointless and backstabbing guarantees your own death. But why this? Are they making a point? Do they want Spy to be more prevalent in 6s? Even as a Spy main, it boggles my mind. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Look out for some sick Spy plays this season. These changes might actually be a genius play from UGC, as this season, UGC 6s is going to be the one to watch. Since this is the final class and it's all above board, I'll run through them all quick like. The red tape recorder is allowed. It destroys buildings so slowly it couldn't be considered a direct upgrade, but holding a mini sentry hostage or reducing a few levels on a sentry whilst NGs are away can be useful. Plus, it can instantly destroy buildings if an NG's just put them down. That's a fun little quirk. All the knives, all the time. The best part about Spy's arsenal is that they all have their function in competitive. The Big Earner for chain stabs, Conniver's kunai and Spicicle for survivability, and the Your Eternal Reward can be devastating against a team that doesn't communicate. Though for my money, nothing beats the stock Butterfly. All the watches are allowed to, Dead Ringer to be irritating, and Cloak and Dagger for going deep undercover. And that's it, the current whitelist for all classes and professional TF2, for this season at least. I wrote this script for this last season, but those UGC changes had made me rewrite and re-record the whole thing.